Good evening, and thank you for joining me. I am Erin. Before we begin, I want you to let go of everything from today. Just breathe and listen. I have prepared a story for you tonight, set in a world of beauty and stillness, where life unfolds one slow, beautiful moment at a time. Welcome back, dear listener. Tonight, a story awaits you, a journey into the realm of dreams. You've been waiting for this, haven't you? Let's begin, shall we? First, settle into your bed, your sanctuary, your nest of warmth and softness. Feel the coolness of the sheets against your skin, the gentle embrace of your pillow beneath your head. Find that perfect position, the one that whispers to you, "Stay, rest, you are home." Now, let's take a deep breath together. Inhale slowly, deeply, filling your lungs with the quiet of the night. Hold it just for a moment, feeling the heaviness in your chest. Then exhale slowly, releasing any tension, any worries, any thoughts that don't belong here. Again, deep in, hold, slow out. Feel the rhythm, the dance of breath. It's just you and the night now. Focus on the weight of your body, the softness of the mattress beneath you. Feel the warmth seeping into your muscles, relaxing them, making them heavy, so very heavy. Listen. Can you hear it? The sounds of the night are all around you. The soft patter of rain against the window, the distant hoot of an owl, the gentle hum of the wind as it dances with the leaves. Let these sounds wash over you, like a lullaby, like a blanket of tranquility. You are safe here, dear listener. You are at peace. Now, let the story begin. In the soft, golden light of dawn, you open your eyes, nestled safely in your humble home, the air cool and refreshing against your skin, the distant sound of the Nile's gentle flow whispering through the open window. The scent of fresh bread and honey from the morning's offerings to the gods wafts through the room, blending with the earthy smell of the mud brick walls, warm and steady around you. You stretch, feeling the coolness of the linen sheet against your skin, the weight of the wool blanket light and familiar, cradling you in its comfort. You rise, the rush mat beneath your feet cool and soft, the texture comforting against your soles. You step outside, the morning air cool on your skin, the sun just beginning to peek over the horizon, casting long shadows across the granary courtyard. The sound of birdsong fills the air, the rhythmic chirping of the swallows nesting in the eaves of the granary, safe and protected. You walk to the well, the sound of your sandals on the packed earth steady and familiar, the cool water refreshing against your skin as you wash your hands and face. The granary looms before you, its massive mud brick walls towering and solid, the scent of grain and dust filling the air. You enter, the cool darkness enveloping you, the sound of your footsteps echoing softly in the vast space. You light your oil lamp, the flame flickering to life, casting a warm glow on the rows of sacks, the hieroglyphs on their seals glowing softly in the light. The air is cool and still, the scent of grain and dust filling your nostrils, the weight of the sacks comforting and familiar against your hands. You begin your inventory, the rhythm of your work steady and calming. You count the sacks, the sound of your voice echoing softly in the vast space, the feel of the reed pen in your hand smooth and familiar. You check the seals, the hieroglyphs glowing softly under your careful gaze, the scent of ink and papyrus filling the air. You verify the scribal marks, the numbers and symbols dancing before your eyes, the rhythm of your work steady and calming. The sound of footsteps echoes in the granary, the overseer entering, his voice stern but not unkind. He checks your work, his eyes scanning the ledgers, his fingers tracing the hieroglyphs. He nods, his expression approving, and you feel a sense of satisfaction, of a job well done. You continue your work, the rhythm of your counting steady and calming, the scent of grain and dust filling the air. The day passes, the sun rising higher in the sky, the heat of the day growing more intense. You take a break, the cool shade of the granary a welcome respite from the heat. You eat your lunch, the taste of the bread and honey fresh and sweet in your mouth. The sound of the Nile's gentle flow a soothing backdrop to your meal. You return to your work, the rhythm of your counting steady and calming, the scent of grain and dust filling the air. As the day draws to a close, you finish your inventory, the ledgers filled with your careful script, the seals on the sacks checked and verified. You feel a sense of satisfaction, of a job well done, the steady rhythm of your work a comforting presence. You extinguish your lamp, the flame flickering and dying, the granary plunging into darkness. You step outside, the cool evening air a welcome relief from the heat of the day, the sound of the Nile's gentle flow, a soothing lullaby. You return home, the rush mats cool and soft beneath your feet, the scent of the evening meal wafting through the air. You eat, the taste of the food familiar and comforting, the sound of your family's voices a gentle murmur in the background. You retire to your bed, the linen sheet cool and soft against your skin, the wool blanket light and familiar, cradling you in its comfort. You close your eyes, the sound of the Nile's gentle flow lulling you to sleep, the steady rhythm of the days work a comforting presence in your dreams. You are K.H. Numhoda, the grain accountant, nestled in the heart of the granary, a place where the scent of wheat and barley is as familiar and comforting as the scent of your own home. The morning sun is just beginning to peek through the small, high windows, casting a warm, golden glow over the stacks of sacks, each one neatly sealed with the mark of the Pharaoh. You can feel the coolness of the stone floor beneath your bare feet, a welcome relief from the heat that will build as the day progresses. You hear the soft rustle of papyrus as you unroll the day's ledger, the crisp sound mixing with the distant chatter of workers outside. Their voices a steady hum that blends with the cooing of doves nesting in the rafters. The ink on your reed brush is dark and fresh, its earthy smell mingling with the dust that dances in the sunlight. You dip the brush into the ink, the liquid gliding smoothly onto the papyrus as you begin to update the inventory. Each stroke a familiar rhythm, a dance of numbers and seals. You can feel the weight of the reed brush in your hand, its smooth surface worn from use, fitting comfortably in your palm. The papyrus is rough under your touch, the fibers catching on your skin as you write. You can taste the faint bitterness of the ink on your lips, a reminder of the care you must take in your work. The air is dry, the scent of grain and dust filling your lungs with each breath. You move to the sacks, their rough woven texture under your fingers as you count and verify each one. The seals are intact, the mark of the Pharaoh clear and unbroken. The sacks are full, their weight steady and reassuring. You can hear the soft scratching of your reed brush as you make your marks on the ledger, the sound a steady beat that grounds you in the rhythm of the day. The granary is a place of safety, a sanctuary from the uncertainty of the world outside. The walls are thick, the stones cool and steady, protecting the grain from the heat and the dust. You are sheltered here, cradled in the familiarity of your work, wrapped in the routine that is as comforting as the scent of grain. You can feel the breeze as it sweeps through the granary, the air warm and dry, carrying the scent of the Nile and the promise of the flood. The light is soft, the shadows long and gentle, casting a peaceful glow over the stacks of sacks. The day is quiet, the only sounds the rustle of papyrus, the scratching of your brush, and the distant hum of the workers outside. You take a moment to inspect the storeroom, the airflow steady and cool, the grain stored safely, protected from the heat and the dust. You can feel the weight of the sacks, their texture rough under your fingers, the seals intact, the marks of the Pharaoh clear and unbroken. The ledger is updated, the numbers neat and precise, a testament to your care and attention. You hear the soft footsteps of your supervisor, his voice a gentle reprimand, a reminder of the importance of your work. But there is no anger in his words, only the steady, familiar rhythm of the granary, the routine that is as comforting as the scent of grain. You are safe here, nestled in the heart of the granary, surrounded by the familiarity of your work, protected by the walls that cradle the grain and the routine that cradles you. The day passes in a slow, steady rhythm, the heat building as the sun climbs higher in the sky. But the granary remains cool, the breeze steady, the air dry and warm. You can feel the weight of the reed brush in your hand, the rough texture of the papyrus under your fingers, the scent of ink and grain filling your lungs with each breath. The ledger is updated, the inventory checked, the seals verified. The day is quiet. The only sounds the rustle of papyrus, the scratching of your brush, and the distant hum of the workers outside. As the day draws to a close, you can feel the warmth of the setting sun, the light soft and gentle, casting a peaceful glow over the granary. The air is filled with the scent of grain and dust, the breeze warm and dry, carrying the promise of fall. You are safe here, nestled in the heart of the granary, surrounded by the familiarity of your work, protected by the walls that cradle the grain and the routine that cradles you. The day is quiet. The only sounds the rustle of papyrus, the scratching of your brush, and the distant hum of the workers outside. You are K.H. Numhoda, the grain accountant, and this is your world, a place of safety, of comfort, of routine. You sit at your low wooden table, the morning sun casting a warm glow through the small window, the air around you heavy with the scent of dried grain and ink. The table is a landscape of papyri, your reed pen resting on the edge, its tip still damp with ink that smells like sleep, like the deep, quiet hours of the night. You feel the smooth reed between your fingers, the coolness of the ink as it seeps into the papyrus, the weight of the table steady beneath your arms, grounded, protected. The granary hums around you, a familiar symphony of sounds, the distant rustle of grain being poured into sacks, the soft scuff of sandals on the packed earth floor, the occasional murmur of workers speaking in low, respectful tones. You hear the gentle whisper of the breeze through the small ventilation holes high above, bringing with it the scent of the Nile, the earth, the promise of life. The light dances on the walls, motes of dust floating lazily in the sunbeams, casting shifting shadows that cradle you in their slow dance. You take a sip of cool water from the clay cup beside you, the taste fresh and clean, a comfort in the dry heat of the day. You can feel the smoothness of the cup against your lips, the coolness of the water sliding down your throat, quenching your thirst. You return to your work, your pen dancing across the papyrus, marking the day's counts, the deliveries, the scribal marks that seal each transaction. You pick up a sack of grain, feeling its weight in your hands, the rough weave of the cloth against your skin. You open it, letting the grain pour out into the measuring bowl, the sound a soft rush, like a gentle stream flowing over stones. You watch as the grain fills the bowl, the golden kernels catching the light, each one a testament to the Nile's bounty, to your careful stewardship. You check the seals on the next set of deliveries, the clay impressions of the scribes marked smooth and unbroken under your fingertips. You feel the coolness of the clay, the faint imprint of the reed stylus that created it, a connection to the hands that made it, a link in the chain of trust that binds your community together. You move through the granary, your sandals brushing against the earthen floor, the scent of grain thick in the air. You check the airflow from the ventilation shafts, feeling the cool breeze against your skin, hearing the soft rush of air as it circulates, keeping the grain dry, safe, protected. You return to your table, the rhythm of your work steady, calming. You dip your pen into the ink, the scent surrounding you, the liquid dark and glossy in the small pot. You feel the pen glide across the papyrus, the ink flowing smoothly, marking the day's work, the day's bounty. You feel a sense of accomplishment, of peace. The granary is safe. The grain is measured and sealed. The deliveries are accounted for. You are nestled in the heart of this place, cradled by the familiar sounds and scents, wrapped in the steady rhythm of your work. You are warm, sheltered, protected. You take another sip of water, the taste fresh and cool, a comfort in the dry heat. You look out the window, the sun casting long shadows across the courtyard, the day winding down, the work nearly done. You feel a sense of contentment, of quiet joy. This is your world, your domain, and it is safe, steady, familiar. You are at peace. This day is done. You wake with the sun, its golden light filtering through the linen curtains of your modest home, nestled safely within the granary complex. The air is already warming, carrying the scent of freshly baked bread from the communal ovens, the soft aroma of honey and dates mingling with the ever-present, comforting smell of grain. You stretch, feeling the rough linen of your kilt against your skin, the coolness of the morning still clinging to the fabric. You step outside, the heat of the day beginning to build, the sound of the Nile nearby, a steady, soothing presence. The granary looms before you, its mud brick walls sturdy and familiar, the scent of the river mingling with the dust and grain. You walk along the familiar path, the sound of your sandals crunching softly on the gravel, the heat of the sun on your back, already warm and sheltering. Inside the granary, the air is cooler, the darkness a welcome respite from the bright morning sun. The scent of grain is stronger here, a comforting, earthy smell that fills your nostrils. You light a small oil lamp, its flame flickering gently, casting soft shadows on the walls. The sound of the lamp's flame is a soft, steady hiss, a comforting rhythm as you begin your day's work. You sit at your low wooden table, the surface worn smooth by years of use. Before you, neat stacks of papyrus await, their edges crisp and fresh. You dip your reed pen into the ink, the liquid cool and smooth against your skin. The ink is a deep, rich black, its scent sharp and clean. You begin to write, the pen scratching softly against the papyrus, the sound a gentle counterpoint to the steady hiss of the lamp. You check the inventory, the numbers flowing from your pen like a dance, each stroke precise and certain. The sacks of grain are stacked neatly around you, their rough woven texture a familiar sight. You run your fingers over the seals on the sacks, the clay cool and smooth under your touch. Each seal is a promise, a guarantee of the grain's quality and quantity. The sound of footsteps echoes through the granary, and you look up to see your supervisor, Nebamun. His face is serious, but his eyes are kind. He hands you a scroll, the papyrus crisp and new. The Pharaoh's inspectors will be here soon, he says, his voice steady and calm. Make sure everything is in order. You nod, the scroll cool and smooth in your hands. You unroll the scroll, the papyrus crackling softly. The list of deliveries is long, each entry a careful record of the grain's journey from field to granary. You check each entry against your own records, the numbers flowing together like a river. The sound of the reed pen is a soft, steady rhythm, a comforting counterpoint to the hiss of the lamp. The granary is quiet. The only sounds the soft scratching of your pen and the steady hiss of the lamp. The air is cool and still, the scent of grain a comforting presence. You are safe here, nestled in the heart of the granary, the world outside a distant, muffled hum. You are steady, certain, the numbers flowing from your pen like a song. You finish the scroll, the numbers neat and precise. You roll it up carefully, the papyrus smooth and cool under your fingers. You stand, the heat of the day seeping in through the granary walls. The sound of the Nile is louder now, a steady, soothing presence. You walk to the door, the heat of the sun warm and sheltering. Outside, the world is bright and bustling. The scent of the river is strong, the sound of the water a steady, soothing rhythm. You walk along the familiar path, the sound of your sandals crunching softly on the gravel. The granary is behind you, its walls sturdy and familiar, the scent of grain a comforting presence. You enter the inspection chamber, the air cool and still. The inspectors are already there, their faces serious but kind. They hand you a list, the papyrus crisp and new. You check each entry against your own records, the numbers flowing together like a river. The sound of the reed pen is a soft, steady rhythm, a comforting counterpoint to the hiss of the lamp. The inspection passes quickly, the numbers flowing together like a song. The inspectors nod, their faces satisfied. They hand you a new scroll, the papyrus crisp and new. The Pharaoh thanks you for your service, they say, their voices steady and calm. You nod, the scroll cool and smooth in your hands. You walk back to the granary, the heat of the day building around you. The sound of the Nile is a steady, soothing presence. You enter the granary, the air cool and still. The scent of grain is strong, a comforting presence. You sit at your table, the surface worn smooth by years of use. You unroll the new scroll, the papyrus crackling softly. The list of deliveries is long, each entry a careful record of the grain's journey from field to granary. You check each entry against your own records, the numbers flowing together like a river. The sound of the reed pen is a soft, steady rhythm, a comforting counterpoint to the hiss of the lamp. The granary is quiet. The only sounds the soft scratching of your pen and the steady hiss of the lamp. The air is cool and still, the scent of grain a comforting presence. You are safe here, nestled in the heart of the granary, the world outside a distant, muffled hum. You are steady, certain, the numbers flowing from your pen like a song. The day passes quickly, the numbers flowing from your pen like a river. The granary is quiet. The only sounds the soft scratching of your pen and the steady hiss of the lamp. The air is cool and still, the scent of grain a comforting presence. You are safe here, nestled in the heart of the granary, the world outside a distant, muffled hum. You are steady, certain, the numbers flowing from your pen like a song. As the sun begins to set, you put down your pen. The granary is quiet. The only sounds the soft hiss of the lamp and the distant hum of the river. You stand, the heat of the day fading around you. You walk to the door, the cool evening air a welcome respite from the day's heat. Outside, the world is bathed in the soft glow of twilight. The scent of the river is strong, the sound of the water a steady, soothing presence. You walk along the familiar path, the sound of your sandals crunching softly on the gravel. The granary is behind you, its walls sturdy and familiar, the scent of grain a comforting presence. You enter your home, the air cool and still. The scent of bread is strong, the loaf warm and soft under your fingers. You sit down to eat, the bread a comforting presence in your hands. The day is done, the numbers flowing from your pen like a song. You are safe here, nestled in the heart of the granary, the world outside a distant, muffled hum. You are steady, certain, the numbers flowing from your pen like a song. The Nile's steady rhythm lulls you to sleep, its song a comforting presence in the night. You step into the storeroom the way you always do, quietly, with your sandals landing on packed mud brick that feels cool at first through the sole, and then warms as you settle your weight. And the air meets you dry instead of carrying the grain-sweet scent of emmer and barley, the faint sourness of old straw mats, and the clean dryness of rope and papyrus, while your eyes adjust to the dim amber light that comes from a high opening, making the dust drift slowly like pale pollen, and you breathe in once, twice. Steady and sheltered, and the sound of the outside world stays far off, softened by thick walls and by your own careful pace. You move toward the tall bins and the low rows of sealed storage jars, and your fingers hover over the rope bindings without pressing too hard, feeling the rough twist of fiber and the slightly brittle edges where clay has been domed, while your nose catches the faint mineral smell of sealed earth and the warm huskiness of grain kept in shade, and your ears listen to the quietest music. The soft tick of your own scratching reed against papyrus, the whisper of dry sand under your cloak when you shift, and the distant creak of wood somewhere in the granary complex, slow and harmless, like a sleeping animal turning in its bed. You let your gaze pass over the inventory tallies painted in careful black ink, the red marks that scribes used to show divisions and deliveries. And you see how each sign, each line, each curl of a digit holds still, protected, like a charm pressed into clay. And you feel your shoulders relax as if the room itself is cradling you. You take the ledger that is kept closest to your hands, wrapped in a strip of linen so its corners stay clean and cool. And when you open it, the papyrus gives a gentle papery sigh that you almost hear with your skin. And you smell the faintly sweet, dry scent of ink and plant fiber. And you taste the dust only in the back of your throat, a harmless powder that reminds you to breathe evenly. You run your eyes along the columns written for the day's checks, and your finger traces the totals without smearing anything. And the motion is slow enough that you can feel the ridges of the ink sit raised beneath your fingertip, while the light above you fades by degrees, turning gold into dull honey, and the room stays warm and familiar, steady as a blanket drawn up to your chest. You lift a small measure, a wooden cylinder with a smooth belly worn by constant use, and you hold it level so your body learns its balance, and the wood feels cool against your palm before it gives back warmth, and the grain smell rises faintly husk and sun-baked earth when the measure mouth meets the opening of a sack. You let the grains slide in the way you have practiced since you were a young accountant, watching them settle into the carved lines of the measure, and you hear the soft rustle of barley sliding, a quiet whisper that seems to belong only to this room, not to the outside world. You press nothing, you do not hurry, and you feel your heartbeat slow as the last grains trickle into place, and you feel safe and held in the repetition of your full level, check like a prayer you do not need to speak. You compare that handful measure to the marks recorded earlier, and you keep your eyes on the tally marks the way. A watchful person keeps eyes on a lamp flame, because ink and tally are what steady a storeroom, and you can almost feel the system like a rope tightening gently around your thoughts. Your reed pen scratches again, ink darkening slightly as it touches the papyrus, and you see the brush of your line forming the same strokes your predecessors used, the same rounded signs shaped to be read from a distance. The smell of fresh ink mixes with the older scent of grain, making the air feel layered and safe. And the silence around you stays unbroken, except for the soft sound of cloth shifting on your lap and the faint, patient creak of timber that holds the ceiling up. You inspect the seals on the delivery jars with care that feels like tenderness, and you feel the wax and clay with the pads of your fingers, noting their smoothness or the slight roughness where time has taken hold. You do not worry. You simply look, and you see that the clay bears the same impressions authority stamped into earth, protection held in a small symbol, and you smell the faint dust at the seal's edge, dry and harmless, like old pottery. You listen for any hint of disturbance, but you hear none. You only hear your own breath, warm and slow, and you watch the rope lashings remain tight, snug, wrapped like bandages that keep the contents cradled. You feel calm settle over you, heavier than your hands have any right to be, and your eyelids begin to grow gently heavy, like linen being laid over skin. You check the scribal marks on sack ties and the counting knots, and the knots look ordinary until you remember how each one is a promise that the granary holds to the center, and you can feel that promise in your own steadiness. You touch the cord and feel its twist, its slight fibers that catch on your thumb, and the touch is comforting, familiar as a practiced grip. The storeroom holds a soft warmth that comes from sun-warmed walls, and the air is still enough that dust hangs suspended, turning in the amber light until it seems to float with no destination at all. You see shadows lengthen slightly across the floor, and the silence makes the world feel wrapped, protected, and close, as if nothing can reach you through the thick walls. You update the ledgers with measured patience, and you do not race your eyes or your pen. You let each number settle, each entry line up with the next, and you hear the quiet rhythm of your writing scratch, pause, scratch, while the smell of grain stays constant, grounding you in the simple truth that stored food means steady lives. You taste faint bitterness only from ink on your lips where you once licked the reed without thinking, and you wipe it away with a corner of linen, clean and careful, safe. Your gaze flicks from ledger to seal to measure again, and the room offers no surprises, only reassurance. The tallies match what you counted, the marks look crisp, the weights you check are consistent, and the quiet proves itself over and over. You move to the airflow inspection point the way you were taught, placing your cheek close to a small vent gap, feeling the slightest shift of coolness against warm skin. And you sense the air's movement as a gentle draft that smells faintly of dry clay and distant river air. You do not chase it. You simply note it, and you feel protected by the thickness of the wall, sheltered from the weather's uncertainty. And you hear a barely audible whisper as air passes through the vent soft, continuous, harmless. Your eyes see the dust pattern near the vent, the faint streaks where air has been steady. And you feel relief as that steadiness confirms the grain is safe in its held shelter. You prepare your report on a fresh strip of papyrus, and the act is soothing in the way a familiar song is soothing, because you arrange the lines and the margins as neatly as you can, letting each phrase end with the same calm ending. You smell the papyrus and the ink again. You feel the linen wrapping against your fingers as you steady the roll, and you hear the light shiver of the reed when you lift it from the page. Outside, the granary makes its distant, muted sounds wood settling, someone's sandals far away, a basket somewhere being set down. Yet inside you are still, and stillness becomes a kind of kindness. You write the day as though it is already wrapped and stored, already protected from doubt. You sit back on your heels, and the floor's coolness rises through your legs while your upper body stays warm in the dim light, and the grain scent wraps around you like a steady cloth. You look at what you have done, the counts, the verified measures, the inked seals, the careful ledger columns, and you feel a quiet assurance settle in your chest, steady and familiar, because you are a local accountant and this room is your held domain. You hear your own breath slow. You see the last light thinning into a softer shade of gold, and you notice how the dust in the air becomes slower, as if even it is tiring. You close the ledger with gentle pressure, not too hard, and you wrap it in linen so it rests exactly where it belongs, safe from damp and safe from careless fingers. You touch the nearest sack tie one last time, feeling the cord's firm, rough comfort, and you inhale the dry sweetness of grain stored in shade, steady and warm. Your eyes drift across the quiet storeroom seal marks like small protective charms, tall bins standing without movement, vents breathing a patient coolness, and you feel yourself nestled deeper into comfort, held by repetition, wrapped by the steady work that needs no hurry. You remain there as the light fades further and further, until even the sounds soften into a gentle hush, and your thoughts drift the way a reed in water drifts slow, safe, and sinking into sleep. You sit at your low wooden table, the surface worn smooth by years of use, the grain of the wood familiar beneath your fingertips as you lean back, your body warm and safe beneath the linen of your kilt, the air around you thick with the scent of dried barley, and the faint, comforting smell of ink and papyrus. The oil lamp in front of you flickers gently, its warm light casting long shadows on the walls of your small, sheltered office within the granary, the heat from its flame reaching out to touch your face in slow, steady waves, the rhythm of its dance steady and soothing. The sound of its tiny crackles a lullaby that wraps around you like a familiar embrace. The day's work is nearly done. The last of the delivery tallies neatly stacked to your left, the ink still glistening slightly where it is soaked into the papyrus, the scent of it sharp and clean, a contrast to the dusty, earthy smell of the grain that fills the rest of the granary. You can hear the distant murmur of the workers outside, their voices low and muffled, the sound of their footsteps on the packed earth floor a soft, steady rumble, the occasional clatter of a dropped sack of grain, a sharp but familiar interruption. You feel the weight of the day's work in your shoulders, a pleasant, comforting ache that speaks of duty fulfilled. The familiarity of it a reassurance that you are safe, that you are where you belong. You reach for the clay cup beside you, the surface cool and smooth beneath your fingers, the water inside still and clear, the taste of it cool and refreshing as you drink, the liquid sliding down your throat like a gentle, soothing balm. You can feel the last of the day's heat leaving your body. The warmth of the lamp now the only heat you are aware of. The steady, comforting glow of it a beacon in the fading light of the day. The shadows around you growing longer, softer, more welcoming. You take a deep breath, the air filling your lungs with the scent of the granary, the smell of the grain a constant, comforting presence, the dust of it catching in your throat, a familiar, friendly sensation. You can hear the distant sound of the Nile, the steady rush of its waters a steady, soothing counterpoint to the murmurs of the workers. The sound of it a reminder of the life that flows around you, the life that you are a part of, the life that you help to nourish and protect. You pick up your reed pen, the smooth, cool surface of it familiar in your hand, the nib of it sharp and precise, the ink flowing from it like a dark, steady stream, the scent of it sharp and clean, a stark contrast to the dusty, earthy smell of the grain. You dip the pen into the ink, the liquid clinging to the nib, the sight of it a dark, glossy promise, the sound of it a soft, satisfying squelch. You begin to write, the pen moving across the papyrus in smooth, steady strokes, the words flowing from your mind to your hand, the rhythm of it a familiar, comforting dance, the sight of the ink on the papyrus a dark, satisfying contrast to the pale, smooth surface of the papyrus, the sound of the pen a soft, steady scratching, the scent of the ink a sharp, clean counterpoint to the dusty, earthy smell of the grain. You feel the weight of the day's work in your hand, the pen a steady, comforting presence, the ink a dark, satisfying contrast to the pale, smooth surface of the papyrus. You can hear the distant murmur of the workers, their voices low and muffled, the sound of their footsteps on the packed earth floor a soft, steady rumble, the occasional clatter of a dropped sack of grain, a sharp but familiar interruption. You feel the warmth of the lamp on your face, the steady, comforting glow of it a beacon in the fading light of the day, the shadows around you growing longer, softer, more welcoming. You take another sip of water, the taste of it cool and refreshing, the liquid sliding down your throat like a gentle, soothing balm. You can feel the last of the day's heat leaving your body, the warmth of the lamp now the only heat you are aware of, the steady, comforting glow of it a beacon in the fading light of the day, the shadows around you growing longer, softer, more welcoming. You finish your report, the last of the words flowing from your mind to your hand, the pen moving across the papyrus in smooth, steady strokes, the rhythm of it a familiar, comforting dance, the sight of the ink on the papyrus a dark, satisfying contrast to the pale, smooth surface of the papyrus, the sound of the pen a soft, steady scratching, the scent of the ink a sharp, clean counterpoint to the dusty, earthy smell of the grain. You feel a sense of satisfaction, of completion, the weight of the day's work now a pleasant, comforting presence, the familiarity of it a reassurance that you are safe, that you are where you belong. You lean back in your chair, the wood of it smooth and familiar beneath your body, the air around you thick with the scent of dried barley, and the faint, comforting smell of ink and papyrus. The oil lamp flickers gently, its warm light casting long shadows on the walls of your small, sheltered office within the granary, the heat from its flame reaching out to touch your face in slow, steady waves, the rhythm of its dance steady and soothing. The sound of its tiny crackles a lullaby that wraps around you like a familiar embrace. You feel your eyelids growing heavier, the warmth of the lamp and the steady, comforting glow of it a beacon in the fading light of the day, the shadows around you growing longer, softer, more welcoming. You can hear the distant sound of the Nile, the steady rush of its waters a steady, soothing counterpoint to the murmurs of the workers, the sound of it a reminder of the life that flows around you, the life that you are a part of, the life that you help to nourish and protect. You feel yourself drifting, the warmth of the lamp and the steady, comforting glow of it a beacon in the fading light of the day. The shadows around you growing longer, softer, more welcoming. You can hear the distant murmur of the workers, their voices low and muffled, the sound of their footsteps on the packed earth floor a soft, steady rumble, the occasional clatter of a dropped sack of grain, a sharp but familiar interruption. You feel the weight of the day's work in your shoulders, a pleasant, comforting ache that speaks of duty fulfilled, the familiarity of it a reassurance that you are safe, that you are where you belong. You close your eyes, the warmth of the lamp and the steady, comforting glow of it a beacon in the fading light of the day, the shadows around you growing longer, softer, more welcoming. You can hear the distant sound of the Nile, the steady rush of its waters a steady, soothing counterpoint to the murmurs of the workers, the sound of it a reminder of the life that flows around you, the life that you are a part of, the life that you help to nourish and protect. You feel yourself drifting, the warmth of the lamp and the steady, comforting glow of it a beacon in the fading light of the day, the shadows around you growing longer, softer, more welcoming. You are safe, you are warm, you are sheltered, you are protected, you are held, you are nestled, you are wrapped, you are cradled, you are steady, you are familiar. You are home.